Hi, I'm Heem. Welcome to Heemland, and welcome to the first episode of Is It Peak? A new series where I review an anime you've either never heard of or you haven't thought about in a decade, and I ask the question, is it peak? The rules of Is It Peak are simple. This isn't on a SAR scale or an out of 10 type thing. There are only 4 possible rankings a show can get. Going from top to bottom, the first one is peak. Self-explanatory, the highest score a show can possibly get, the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Next is unique. Unique is a pretty wide territory. Shows in unique are good, even great, but they don't go that extra mile that allows them to become true peak. Still means I like them. Next is weak. Now, weak is what the kiddies like to call mid. This is for anime that's just okay. Not good enough to be good, not bad enough to be bad. This will usually be because there's either like a glaring problem or it's just not that interesting. I'd show personal examples, but it would mostly be shows people here would rank higher, and I don't want to upset anyone that early in the series. And finally, there's bleak. Bleak is the tier that I use for anything that's just plain bad. Shows I don't like. Anything where the positives are vastly outweighed by the negatives. This may be unfortunate to hear, but I like to think I'm a pretty positive person. It takes a lot for me to dislike something, so there's a good chance you're not going to see as many bleaks as you want, but they're going to be there. And just because it's fun, I'm going to keep a tally of how much we get of each ranking every video. To give an example of how this system would work, last video I talked at length about the show Flip Flappers, a show I wasn't really thrilled about, but didn't necessarily dislike either, and for that, it would go in weak. Now to start, I should explain how I first learned about this show, and why I chose it as the first for the series, because I learned about this anime from one of the first anime-related videos I ever watched on YouTube, years before I regularly watched anime. This video from 2014 by Cobalt the Crusader, then named Magus Reviews? Not sure. About really bad anime called Really Bad Anime. Cobalt, who looks like a combination of the one guy from Dodgeball and the other guy from Dodgeball, talks a lot about strange shows on this video, from particularly infamous shows like Aiken and Garzy's Wing, to exceptionally weird shit like Sleeping with Hinako, a 50-minute OVA in which you watch the titular Hinako sleep. It is thrilling content. This video as a whole feels like a relic of 2014, complete with the getting mad at Teen Titans Go thing a lot of grown adults did for some reason. Fuck, some of them still do it. But the show that stuck with me for damn near a decade was the subject of today's video. Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan. Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan is a 6-minute OVA series released between 2005 and 2007, with the first 4 episodes being Season 1, and the last 2 being Season 2. This was animated by HAL Filmmaker, an animation studio which went out of business 3 years after Dokuro-chan ended. This show is based off a light novel series of the same name by Masaki Okayu and was directed by Tsutomu Mizushima. If you know anything about this show, you probably wouldn't expect the director of Bludgeoning Angel fucking Dokuro-chan to end up having a solid career with a legitimately diverse resume of shows, but he does. Another, Girls in Panzer, Squid Girl, Prison School, Shirobako. All done by the fucking Dokuro-chan guy. Now, Cobalt did not have nice things to say about this show.
It's rare that I see an anime protagonist this gratingly annoying. It's a failed experiment. Go away! Dokuro-chan, aka one of the most annoying animes I've ever had the misfortune of seeing in my entire life. Avoid like the plague.
But will I? That is the question. Welcome to Is Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan peak? Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan is the story of Sakura Kusukabe, an average 14-year-old boy whose life has recently been derailed by the titular Dokuro Mitsukai. Dokuro is explicitly here for one purpose. She wants to be held, she wants to be comforted, and if he does not do all of those things immediately, she will ruin his life. Dokuro's main method of punishing Sakura for his misdeeds is by, well, bludgeoning him. When Sakura commits a misdeed, usually by accident, he gets the bat, the giant spiked metal bat that Dokuro calls Excalibur. Of course, one cannot survive such a thing in the real world, and despite being an anime character, Sakura also can't survive this. That's why, whenever he's killed, Dokuro chants the magic words. and he comes back to life. Some of our more normal viewers may think this sounds incredibly annoying, and to that I say, I didn't really have a problem with it. Usually it could get annoying. Fun fact, the pipiru thing works in real life. I'm serious. Go to your local graveyard. What are you waiting for? Do it. I'm not joking. Go say hi to Grandma for me. You may be asking, how can this thing call itself an angel when it is clearly the seed of Baphomet? Simple. She's justified. In the future, Sakura creates a technology that prevents women from aging past the age of 12.
実はこの映像は不老不死の技術がついに完成してしまった未来の世界なんです。そしてその技術を偶然にも発見してしまうのが僕?
You may also wonder why any form of government would allow this to happen. It's not like world leaders regularly gather on an island so they can do the horizontal tango with underage girls. That would be fucked up. The mandate of heaven agrees with this notion, as because this is happening to underage girls and not underage boys, this is considered blasphemous. In reality, Dokuro was sent from the future to kill Sakura and make sure this never happens, but Dokuro is too nice to kill him. So she goes on the much more merciful option of ruining his life until he can't make the device. Of course, she announces these intentions to Sakura's whole class, completely ruining his reputation for all his friends, but like, whatever. Throughout the series, we're also introduced to other angels from the future that actually intend to kill Sakura, but I'll elaborate on them in a little bit.
Sakura ならやりかねない。
どうしよう、俺に妹いるのに。
I heard that you a pedophile. You touch little boys and girls. My
Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan is a classic in what I like to call the "there's a weird girl ruining my life, and she likes me" genre of anime, which I'm going to simply shorten to the weird girl genre. You've probably never thought about it, but there's dozens of these, and Dokuro-chan may be the logical extreme of the genre due to the brutality. Most of the episodes play out very similarly. Sakura just wants to live his life, oftentimes even just wanting to help people. Dokuro acts like a pest and messes things up, and sometimes it manages to end well. Sometimes. This is one of the few anime I can think of that uses a more Western cartoon format, where instead of it being one long 24-minute episode, it's two 11 to 12-minute episodes. Unlike most Western cartoons, these episodes are usually connected, or at least tangentially related to each other.
極貧天使タバトちゃん
As previously stated, the crux of the show is between Sakura and Dokuro. Sakura, played by Reiko Takagi, is your bog-standard, horny, basically a self-insert main character. He spends most of his time on the show either getting his life ruined or being horny, but he's supposed to be a nice guy at heart. One may already dislike him due to his future invention of the detonator, but at this point he doesn't even know why he made the thing. Can you truly get mad at someone for a crime they haven't committed yet? Yes, because he's still weird as fuck. He's also the source of the other signature joke of the show, what I've been calling ramble humor. Basically, this is when, out of nowhere, a character, usually Sakura, starts rambling on about nothing for no reason, usually before something bad happens to him.
聞いてよ人の話ここは現実の世界で漫画とか小説の世界とは違ういつあのドクロちゃんの恐怖放送が始まるかわからないのですそれにああまでして僕を呼び寄せているということは何かがいや何かというよりはもっと重大な事件が起こったに違いあります
He just does not shut up sometimes. It can get really annoying. You know those scenes in Smiling Friends where people are having a conversation but they're stuttering and the joke is that they're stuttering and it's not funny and it's really the only part of the show I don't like? It's kind of like that. He's really not that interesting otherwise, but that's by design. He's a horny 14-year-old, and that's the target demographic of all light novels. Yes, even that one. There's a reason why nearly every light novel is either an isekai/power fantasy thing, a school thing, or in many cases, both. There's a reason why Isekai Quartet takes place in a school, and even in a rare exception of these categories, they're still really, really horny. Of course, the main focus of this show is Dokuro herself, played by Saiko Chiba, and I have mixed feelings on her. On one hand, her bits and methods of torturing poor Sakura can be amusing. There's one where she forces him to wear this tracksuit that says Lolicon on it. I thought that was kind of funny.
何ロリコンちょっと何なのこのジャージ
さくらくんの性格が出ていてよく似合うよロリコンジャージ
やだよこんなのも
Oh yeah, throughout the series, they use the word lolicon and pedophile interchangeably. There's a reason for that. On the other hand, though, Dokuro-chan can be really annoying. I know the intention is like, oh, the characters find her annoying, but the audience is supposed to find her charming, but no, she can be really annoying sometimes. But hey, this torturous behavior, that's how she shows her love. Words from the horse's mouth. She says it in the theme song. Oh yeah, if you know anything about this show, chances are it's the theme song. It's sung by Dokuro from her perspective, and it's just about how she likes torturing Sakura. It's stupid, it's annoying, and it's catchy as all hell. This will get stuck in your head, and because I like my audience and their sanity, I will not be playing it. I just lied to you. This thing is an earworm, and you never know when it'll show back up again. You'll be in the shower, and all of a sudden you'll be like,
Bokusatsu Tenshi, Dokuro-chan.
It's horrifying. It's a virus. This song has almost certainly killed people. But now to the secondary characters. One archetype in the weird girl anime genre is the other girl, who's the objectively better option for the protagonist. And this show's version of this is Shizuki Minakami, played by Ayako Kawasumi. Her character is that she's literally nice. Unlike Sakura's other classmates, she knows that the boy is good at heart. And she's the girl that Sakura actually wants to jab his long, spiky apparatus into, instead of Dokuro putting her own apparatus into him. She's one of Sakura's primary motivators, being a driving force of the plot of many episodes. But back to the divine, we have Sabato, who's kind of the series' for lack of a better term, girl failure. She's another one of the angels that was sent to kill Sakura, and in the first episode, she attempts to do so. She fails, isn't allowed back into the future until she does so, and can't find a place to stay, leaving her to live in a cardboard box underneath a bridge. Next up is a later addition to this series, Dokuro's sister Zakuro, and she has one of the most clever and nuanced bits in all of anime. Easy to learn, difficult to understand. You see, despite looking older than Dokuro, she's actually younger, only 9 years old. Get it? Get it? I think what's especially funny about this bit is that once she arrives on the scene, Sakura's classmates immediately start flirting with her, even when she reveals her age.
9歳です。もうお風呂には一人で入れますか？まだ一人は怖くて。
Bunch of fucking hypocrites, that's what you are. And next there's Zansu, Dokuro's boss. I've rewritten this script, re-recorded this footage a few times, and even after that, despite being the most traditionally weird character in this show, I still have very little to say about him. He's the weird gremlin guy who just does shit. He ends his sentences in the word Zansu. He sounds like this.
ついにこの時が来たざんす。ルルティエがそっちに資格を送ったざんすよ。
わかった。僕、さくらくんから目を離さないようにする。
絶対奴らのやり方は間違ってるざんす。
It's pretty weird, but like it's just not noteworthy compared to the everything else.
さくらくんじゃないざんすか。こんなところで何してるざんすか。
There's a couple other minor characters. There's Sakura's weird-ass teacher that looks like this. And there are a few more, but I'll analyze them in the next section, which is...
That guy got hit in the head with a coconut!
Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan is a comedy, first and foremost, and the comedy here is weird and random, like the rest of the show. For example, here's literally the first joke after the opening sequence of the first episode.
ジョージ・ブッシュ大統領の背中の箱状のものは赤外線探査チームによって黒板消しだったことが判明しました。次のニュース。キム・ジョンイル総書記のメガネは伊達メガネだったことが明らかにされました。レンズは入っていない模様で政府はこの事実を厳粛に
And this is the second.
ねえ、さくらくん。
世界的なロックミュージ
何やってんの？
Yeah, besides the ramble humor and the... This show is also an ecchi. This means a lot of the humor is just fan service. Panty shot here, boob shot there, whatever. They can get a little creative with it at points. Sometimes they'll show these little scenes that take place inside of Sakura's head that represent him getting a boner. They're kind of amusing. One of the more bizarre examples I can think of this is this entire scene where Sakura has these hallucinations that are literally literary allusions to Kafka, except they're about getting a boner.
ある朝、グレゴール・ザムザが目を覚ますと、寝床の中で自分の毒虫が巨大に硬くなっているのを見つけました。
Probably the biggest example I can think of this type of juvenile humor in the show is that whenever an angel's halo comes off, they shrivel and get explosive diarrhea. We also have this scene with Dokuro and Sabato vomiting into Sakura's shirt because that's nice. Other recurring jokes. Dokuro will sometimes turn people into animals, and by that I mean their heads will change to cutout PNGs of said animal. Dokuro does this a couple times throughout Season 1, specifically creating this monkey and this dog. The latter in particular is notable because the previously mentioned Cobalt review of the show compared it to the Doge meme, but mispronounced the word Doge. Hi, editing Heem again. Firstly, I need to mention that this video was recorded in January. I've just been really unbelievably busy. So originally there was going to be a joke about the government organization Doge, but then I noticed something weird. He actually says this.
Well, at least you didn't turn anyone into a Shiba Inu, because I seriously would have Muay Thai kicked someone in the chest had they made a Doge reference.
And that doesn't make any sense because she does in fact turn someone into a Shiba Inu. So I rewatched the entire video, and I realized he only shows footage from episodes 1 and 4. I think it is genuinely possible that those are the only episodes he watched, and he just didn't watch the other ones. I don't even know how you do this. The show's only 6 episodes. That's not a whole lot of time to kill. This man has accidentally gaslit me for years. Back to the video. They introduce a couple more in Season 2 with no explanation because it's Dokuro-chan. Who gives a shit? There's now Moose, Giraffe, White Guy. Yeah, this random white guy is one of the PNGs in Season 2. Keep in mind, there's only 2 episodes of Season 2, and they milk the white boy for all he's worth. The story is literally just that the staff found him funny. There is an entire video essay dedicated to finding out who the mysterious white boy is. It's a pretty interesting tale, and you should watch it after this video. Well, in reality, this guy should be shilling me because he has more subscribers, but we can't all be winners, can we? Like and subscribe! One in-universe recurring joke is the presence of a show called Binkan the Sensitive Salaryman, a show about a man named Binkan who has really sensitive skin. Binkan, 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 Binkan. Binkan, 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 Binkan. That's it. That's the joke. It's popular to the point where there's a movie and they sell food that makes your skin as sensitive as his, which of course is used to torture Sakura. I don't know if the sensitive bit is an arousal thing, but it's this show. It's probably an arousal thing. Okay, I just realized that the food I mentioned earlier is literally called a sensitive sausage. It's absolutely an arousal thing. If it wasn't obvious, I'm not too keen on the humor here. I grew out of this in, like, middle school. I've certainly seen worse types of this humor, but it's certainly not my favorite thing by any means. That's not necessarily a complaint. I know the target audience is literally 14-year-olds, but that ties into something else to take into account. For Western audiences in the late 2000s and early 2010s, this was one of the most accessible anime on the internet, and for this reason, it was also one of the first anime a lot of young weebs ever watched. To this day, you can find 15-year-old 360p uploads of full episodes of Dokuro-chan on YouTube. I used the YouTube uploads to rewatch episodes for this video. Shoutouts to my man Justin Diaz for uploading Bludgeoning Angle Dokuro-chan. Not only was Dokuro-chan finding its target audience in the West, it was actually often finding younger You can find dozens of YouTube comments on the uploads of this show from people saying that this was one of their first anime, but they were often 10, 11, 12 years old. I'm not decrying this. I don't really care. I know a lot of kids at the time were finding ways to watch South Park. There's nothing here that's more offensive than there. I just think that's really funny. And it makes sense. I could absolutely see some kid learning about the show and going, wow, she kills the guy over and over again. That's funny. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. The soundtrack here is really, really good. I'm not just talking about like the opening and ending themes, I mean like the actual background music. It's just really atmospheric, fun, I like it. In terms of the actual OPs and EDs, besides the one I talked about earlier, Season 1's ending is a complete tonal shift, not just from the OP, but from the rest of the show. You know how I said earlier that Sabito lives in a box? Yeah, the song here is this really slow jazz song about how everything sucks for her, which is weird considering it's also sung by Dokuro's VA. Literally the first line of the song is, "You don't need to have a dream." That's fucked up. I think if there's one anime that embodies that fucking Mike Wazowski meme about anime music, it's this one. Season 2's OP does something I've literally never seen another anime do before, although I guarantee it's probably happened before, I just don't know examples. But it's something that's actually pretty cool. The theme is a remixed version of Season 1's theme with added instruments, new lyrics, new visuals, it even has a key change. The ED is not as cool, unfortunately. It's all of our favorite characters, including the PNGs, doing the conga line to a Japanese folk-style song. Once again, sung by Dokuro, about Dokuro. They even managed to fit in ramble humor. Yippee! On that note, I may as well elaborate on differences between Season 1 and Season 2. Season 1 has kind of a connecting story that, at the very least, gets concluded. Season 2 does not have that. It feels more like random vignettes that are just all over the place. The humor becomes more random, and there's way more ecchi trash here. I was sick of it not even 15 minutes in. The worst segment of the entire show, I'd say, is the second half of the first episode of Season 2, because that is a bath episode. That's nothing but ecchi trash. This is the point for me where I'd say the show became more of a chore to watch. At least with Season 1, there's something. I know you don't care about Dokuro-chan spoilers, but there at least is an end goal with Sakura. But at this point, it's just random 12-minute skits that aren't funny. There's a few other changes. The animation has a jump in quality, the 9/11 predictions got less subtle, Dokuro's hair has been changed from purple to blue because that's more accurate to the light novel, and they introduce a couple new characters that aren't really important at all. Sabato's mom shows up in literally the second to last segment in which she does nothing of importance. We're introduced to another one of Sakura's classmates who's like the vaguely goth girl. I don't know if they gave her a name. If they did, put it right here. I just kept calling her Manhattan Cafe because she looks and acts like Manhattan Cafe. And because why not? I watched the entire dub as well, and it's about on par with the original thing. The cast is very typical for the time, and I do mean very typical. Sakura is played by Johnny Youngbosh and Dokuro by Wendy Lee.
That really hurt, you know?
But I had to because you were trying to kidnap Sabato.
Not even! She was trying to kidnap me!
It doesn't really make the show any better or worse. I guess if you really don't want to read, it works. So really, it's a dealer's choice on what you want to deal with. Actually, the ramble humor I did think was more annoying in English. I don't know. Maybe just me. I will give a special shout-outs to Laura Bailey as Sabato, though, because she goes off in some scenes, especially in Season 2.
The french fries aren't gone at all! Please let me into a warm house, please, please! The trash! I'm too tired now, the trash!
And yeah, that's Dokuro-chan. It's Perfectly fine if you have, like, some friends over, or if you want to watch something completely mindless for, like, 3 hours, but other than that, it's not great. There's definitely worse out there. There's definitely better out there. And that's why I'm giving it a week. Masaki Okayu would later go on to write other great light novels with other long Japanese names that translates to things such as, What Happens If a Friend's Older Sister Falls in Love with a Gloomy Person? I just want to play a tabletop role-playing game, but the Inquisition won't allow it. And it seems that the student council president, whom everyone fears, is going to become my personal maid. Who reads this shit? And Cobalt, he's done a lot of things since he made that old anime video. His main gig is being a professional wrestler on the North Carolina indie scene, under the same Cobalt the Crusader name. Most of the clips I was able to find were for a company called the Bray Wrestling Association, whose main notable alumni is Jay Malachi, now known as WWE's Javon Evans.
Hi, back again. Cobalt left the Bray Wrestling Association several months ago. Just shows to show how long I waited to make this video. Yay!
But he still makes videos! As of writing this, his last one came out 2 months ago. He now spends his YouTube days talking about weird, obscure games and anime, just like he used to. The difference? He now hides behind an AI-generated rant sona. At least he's honest about it. Although this is about as conclusive a conclusion as you can get, I told you where all the important figures involved in this went, that's not the type of ending I want for episodes of Visit Peak. We need something more thought-provoking. So I'm gonna raise a question. What if Dokuro, coming into Sakura's life, was the inciting incident that led him to create lowly content? By all accounts, Sakura's life peaked before Dokuro-chan ruined it. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but Dokuro is intended to appear to always be 12. Maybe at some point, despite her love, Dokuro decides her job is done. Maybe the spark's not there anymore. She's properly done her job and the demon returns to hell, heaven. Things don't get better. Then when he's an adult, he thinks, hey, I miss Dokuro-chan. What if everyone was Dokuro-chan? Maybe that future me was onto something. I get it. What I'm proposing is that if Dokuro never told him about what he'd do in the future, he'd never get the idea and never create the detonator. It's an Ouroboros. In trying to prevent this fucked up future, all Dokuro-chan has done is lock it in, has damned it for everyone. Scary, isn't it? I'm Heem. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. If you don't watch the next video, I'm gonna get ya. Bye!
I never learned what that Japanese lady was singing about, but I like to imagine she was singing about some beautiful things. Peep-peru-peru-peru. Peep-peru-pee.